Hello and welcome to the Winning Post. I'm Mohit Lalvani, and on this very special episode, here we are in Singapore for the 13th running of the Singapore Airlines International Cup. If ever there was a race in Southeast Asia that united the world of horse racing, not just the top horses from around the world, but the most important racing dignitaries, well, this is it.
The weekend that the Singapore horse racing aficionados had been waiting for had finally arrived. The 8th KrisFlyer Sprint over 1,200 metres and the 13th Singapore Airlines International Cup over 2,000 metres was scheduled for the 19th of May, and both races were those that attracted a strong international presence from the global horse racing circuit. A total of 24 horses would start in the two races combined, including Germany's Pastorius and the Irish gelding Military Attack. Hunter's Light from the Godolphin stable was the first to touch down at Kranji airport, followed not long thereafter by Japan's Dasher Go-Go and South African sprinter Kavanagh, even as the local hopes Better Life and Super Easy went through their final paces. With 4 million Singapore dollars up for grabs, the festivities began well in advance for the weekend of 17th to 19th of May on and off the racetrack.
This year's field, for the Cup especially, is definitely one of the best, if not the best. The horses have all arrived, they have all settled in and all doing very well from all accounts based on what their trainers and grooms are saying. So we are very happy with that.
The post-position draw, like always, was held at the V Lounge with great pomp and show on the 16th of May 2013, and the Singapore Turf Club left no stone unturned to host the international and the local delegations. The draws began with the KrisFlyer Sprint. Trainer Michael Friedman seemed rather pleased with the draw, as both his horses, Super Easy and Mr. Big, were lined next to each other in barriers 6 and 7 respectively.
You know, I've been pleased with the way the horses have worked this week, how they've come through their last starts. So yeah, we've come up with a couple of nice barriers in the sprint, and obviously a good draw in the cup race. So fingers crossed.
All right, let's talk about Super Easy first. You must be pleased with his draw.
Yeah, look, I think it's sort of middle of the field. There's obviously good speed drawn out wide. Mr. Big, his stablemate, who's obviously a sort of an on-speed type horse as well, has just drawn one to his outside. So, yeah, he's got Joe on him, who's obviously a very good rider. So, you know, I think you obviously always need luck in these races, but hopefully from that draw things can pan out for him.
Morera, who would be riding Super Easy, was more than pleased with how well his champion was doing.
I got two very good rides on the international races. I'll go first with Super Easy, which is being one of the best horses to me. He'll definitely be very competitive, and if you ask me if he's going to win, I would say I'm very confident that he will. Obviously, I do respect all of the other horses that is coming for the races.
Britain's Duck Scholar drew on the inside at 1, while Singapore's Emerald Hill was on the outside in 11. The SIA Cup draw was next, and the local hope Better Life got position number 6. The horse sense team wondered if the Epsom Derby winning rider was already going through his calculations.
We don't know where she is internationally, so you know this is going to be a good find out and see. And let's hope she's she's off to the mark really. And don't forget she's only 4. I love that idea, you know, that she's going to be better next year, and you know she's just a baby in the race, you know.
Drawn next to Better Life was Singapore's galloper Flax, a talent that was capable of producing a winning performance when at his best.
Well, you know, I was for the draw with Flax I think it's perfect. You know, they got another speed horse inside to me, and I will try to do the same race that I did in the Racecourse Cup.
Ready to strike from Laurie Laxton's stable got the outside draw of 13. Despite this, Morera sounded optimistic when interviewed later on.
I'm really looking forward because I really feel like he's going to run a huge race. If he ran top 4, if he finished on the top 3, I couldn't be any happier. I mean, he's he's going well, and I'm confident he's up to it.
International frontrunner Red Caddo drew 7, while trainer John Moore, who had 2 in the field, Dan Excel and Military Attack, drew barriers number 1 and 4 respectively.
I'm ecstatic. It's continued in the same vein of what it was for the QE and the Champions Mile. Drawing gate 1 and 4 is a dream, and I'm sure that from those gates, both my horses will have great chances of winning the race.
How have they done coming into this one? Is there anyone you have a slight preference for? Has one traveled better than the other? Is there, how are you working this out in your head?
Okay, well, we know Military Attack will get 2,000 on his head, and he's drawn the gun gate, so he's going to get a gun run. He always can sit up on the first 5 or 6, so he should be getting the gun run, and Purton's on a wave at the moment. He can't do anything wrong. Dan Excel's coming out of the Champions Mile. He was a bit suspect at 2,000, but drawing gate 1 will make life easier for him. A horse like Ready to Strike will probably take up the running. He's going to have a gun run in behind that, and I'm sure the horse that will be in front at the 300 will be Dan Excel.
The German colt Pastorius was drawn at 11, and racing next to him was the French horse Meander.
Surely he is a great horse. Maybe a little bit of disadvantage for him is the distance, as he normally prefers the 1.5 miles, and this is a 1.25 miles. I think he would love the going, as the going is soft, and at the same time it is not heavy. So this is the going he loves, and we are very optimistic, despite the fact that there are so many good horses this year.
As far as this draw goes, have you worked out a strategy? Are you happy with where you are?
We are happy with the draw. Normally it is the far outside, but on the other hand it gives us a chance to avoid traffic. So the jockey can take the position he likes in the race, and maybe, well, all of course will depend on the instruction Doug Watson gives to the jockey. Maybe he will be among the front runners.
The psychic Parrot was once again called upon to have his pick for the 2 races, and to the delight of all, picked Mawingo as the winner of the SIA Cup and goalkeeper from Singapore for the sprint. The International Group 1 weekend also had media coverage from all over the world, and amongst those who made the trip across was the familiar face of Alistair Donald from the International Racing Bureau.
I think the Cup this year is as strong a race as probably there's ever been here in terms of the Cup at Singapore. I think it'll be a very competitive race. I have a sneaking admiration for Pastorius, although I'm not completely happy that he's got a wide draw. So, but he would be my pick. But there's a lot of very competitive horses. I think you've got to give John Moore's pair a chance. Certainly, I particularly like Military Attack, who won the APQE2 back in April in Hong Kong, and I think he'll be a very tough horse to beat too.
The festivities continued into the late hours of the night at the prominent Pump Room at Clarke Quay, even as the horses were quietly tucked away at Kranji, awaiting their moment on the stage.
Well, it's time for a short break right here in Singapore. We'll be right back with the 2 Group 1 races. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Singapore Airlines International Race Meeting. The horses are just a few minutes away from the start. They are actually in the parade ring. Let's go straight over and join them.
international weekend's first event, the KrisFlyer Sprint, had 6 international horses of the 11 starters in its lineup, with horse number 1 being the Australian Bell Sprinter with Hugh Bowman on his back. The Jason Warren-trained multiple black-type runner had clinched the winning post in the 2013 1100 metres Group 1 Canterbury BMW Galaxy, followed by a commendable third in the 1200 metre Group 1 Darley TJ Smith Stakes behind the great mare Black Caviar. Following him in the parade ring was the oldest horse in the race, the Hong Kong sprinter Lucky 9, who'd won the 1200 metre Hong Kong Group 1 Chairman Sprint Prize but had been a shadow of his previous self in his last 2 races. Trainer Casper Founds and jockey Brett Preble were looking to turn the tide this time around. The Irish-born Belmont Mast, ridden by John Murtagh, was the runner-up in the prestigious Group 1 Dubai Golden Shaheen, but the 5-year-old gelding had not secured a victory in any of his races this year. Jockey Kazmat Ulubev would be on the British sprinter Duck's Collar, who added yet another country to his well-travelled passport with this visit to Singapore. Having competed in races from 1,000 metres to up to 2,000 metres, the Doug Watson trainee was looking to do better than the 7th place finish recorded in his previous Group 1 race, the SIA Sprint, in March this year. South African gelding Kavanagh had yet to register a win in a Group 1 race. He'd won the 1200 metre Energia Elegante handicapped sprint in March this year, followed by a midfield finish in the 2013 Group 1 Dubai Golden Shaheen. Shina Shida's 6-year-old Dasher Gogo carried Umberto Rispoli and had not won a race since 2012. He lacked form unlike those around him. He stood 5th in the 2013 1200 metre Group 1 Takamatsunomiya Kinend and was the last one to cross the finish line in last year's Group 1 Sprinter Stake in Japan. With nothing to lose though, he embodied the true spirit of competition here. Singapore-based trainer Michael Friedman Super Easy was coming into this race with a victory in his lead-up, the Singapore Group 1 Lion City Cup. He looked back to his best in the parade ring, and Singapore's champion jockey Joe Moreira was looking to add another victory to his already impressive count of more than 1,000 victories. Friedman's second horse in the KrisFlyer was none other than last year's runner-up Mr. Big, with an impressive record of 7 victories from 14 starts in the 1,200 metre racetrack. The 4-year-old had always finished in the top 3 in all his 20 races in Singapore and was competing for nothing less than a victory. Australian jockey Corey Brown held his reins this time and posed a serious threat to Super Easy. Singapore sprinter goalkeeper had won 5 of his 6 races in 2012, including victories in the Kranji Stakes A and the Kranji Stakes C last year. Trainer Theodore Kaiser would saddle the bay gelding, and jockey Danny Beasley would have the honour of riding him home. Jockey Venezuela was on top of the John O'Hara-trained Emerald Hill for the first time. A perfect season last year with 5 victories and 5 starts did not build into this year, and he had yet to register a win in 2013 after a close second in the Singapore Group 3 Merlion Trophy, losing out to Speedy Cat. All-Win Stables' Speedy Cat certainly lived up to his name, as he had never finished below 4th in his 17 races so far. Trained by H.T. Tan and ridden by Brazilian jockey Manuel Nunes, the winner of the 2013 Singapore Group 3 Merlion Trophy had to settle for a 3rd in the Singapore Group 1 Lion City Cup this year, losing out to Super Easy. With the excitement building up to start time and the horses ready to jump, the starters set them away.
Racing now in the KrisFlyer. Belmont's Bell Sprinter was out the back early on. Good speed here from Lucky 9, goalkeeper. And driving up on the outside, Emerald Hill, Super Easy being pushed along. Mr. Big dwelt at the start, but now going up, Kavanagh was just off them and tight for Rumour. Followed by Duck Scholar. Going up wide, a Dasher Go-Go, who wasn't quick to begin. Then Speedy Cat, a gap away to Bell Sprinter. And last of all, Belmont Mast over on the inside, goalkeeper. And Emerald Hill, the local speedster, show the way down the side over Lucky 9. Mr. Big up on the outside, then Super Easy, Dasher Go-Go going up deeper, followed then by Duck Scholar and Kavanagh near the top of the straight. Speedy Cat, Bell Sprinter about to be brought to the outside of the track, and Belmont Mast at the rear. Emerald Hill goes up to goalkeeper, top of the lane here, 350 metres to go. Lucky 9 into the clear. Mr. Big out wider and Super Easy runs on. Bell Sprinter down the outside, running on quickly. There's a fall in the KrisFlyer. Super Easy coming after Lucky 9. Bell Sprinter out wide. It's Lucky 9 for Hong Kong clear. Super Easy can't pick it up. Bell Bell Sprinter down the outside, but a Hong Kong land the KrisFlyer. Lucky 9 for Preble and Casper Pounds by 4 lengths.
Yeah, he jumped, he got away cleanly. He was first out, you know, and he hasn't been doing that for a long time. And he was quite happy actually in the barrier tonight. He was quite relaxed, even though one upset the start and we got delayed. He still got away so brilliant. And my confidence went from maybe 6 to 10 straight away. You know, that was been his biggest trouble the last two, and you know he hasn't got into his race straight away, and he was never really comfortable. Tonight it was actually funny. We have the mobile video footage on the inside, and he disliked it, and he was actually putting the brakes on going the first turn, and he didn't want to take the position. So I let him come back a bit and get his confidence, and he come away from the rail, and then once that sort of got behind us, he got his mind on his job, and from there on he was really positive. And once he got the run, it was he runs a mile, so I knew that with the turn of foot he gave me straight away, I knew they weren't going to run him down unless, you know, his health issues were at the end.
No, it's really good. You know, it means a lot to us just to see him win another international, and he's very deserving of this victory, and I look forward to next season with him.
Lucky 9 earned 1 for Hong Kong, and the celebrations could not have been more emphatic. Lucky 9 is by Dubawi, and the 6-year-old took home the lion's share of the 1 million Singapore dollars. Venezuela, who came down in the straight, was safe and sound, but would have to sit in the stands for the cup.
Well, and when this horse is on song, he really is flying. We'll take a short break right here at Kranji. Come right back with our big one, the Singapore Airlines International Cup. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Kranji, and here, a few minutes away from the start of the Singapore Airlines International Cup 2013, the horses are almost ready to get started.
The KrisFlyer Sprint made way for the grand finale of the weekend, the Singapore Airlines International Cup. Leading the parade ring was the 5-year-old Meandre with jockey Hamzat Ulbev. Trainer Doug Watson looked to have had him prepared to deliver a fine performance, much to the likes of his victories in the 2,400-metre 2012 Group 1 Grosser Prevost Berlin held in Germany, and the 2012 2,400-metre Group 1 Grand Prix du Saint-Cloud. Next in line was John Moore's 2013 Group 1 Audemars Piguet QE2 Cup winner Military Attack with Zach Burton in the saddle. The 5-year-old Bay Gelding had clinched 4 victories in his 6 starts this year. Proving hard to beat on credentials was horse number 3 Pastorius, who seemed the perfect contender for this race, having won 3 of his 4 2,000-metre starts in his lifetime. The Mario Hofer-trained German galloper was the only horse competing to have won the 3 Group 1 races in less than a year. It was interesting to see what the master, Olivier Pellier, who had won last year's Prix de l'Arc du Triomphe, would be able to add to his roll of honour with a victory here. Red Caddo had won the 2,400-metre Group 1 Longines Hong Kong Vase before coming second in the 2013 Group 1 Dubai World Cup. He followed that up with a 3rd place in the Group 1 The Tenor Show in Japan, and had French jockey Gerald Mosse to bring him back into the winner's enclosure. Dan Excel and stablemate Military Attack were also in the lineup. Both were coming into this race with winning form. Dan Excel had won the Group 1 Champions Mile and would be ridden by Wee Chong Ma Wing, while Military Attack had won the Group 1 QE2 in Hong Kong en route to Singapore. Godolphin-owned Hunter's Light, along with jockey Sylvester de Souza, was looking to add another trophy to his cabinet after winning the 2,000-metre Group 1 Al Maktoum Challenge at the UAE in March earlier this year, and was looking to add Godolphin's recent success in the English 2,000 Guineas, while the Parrots pick Ma Wingo had been out of form this year and had yet to find his best after a 9th and 10th place in the 2,400-metre Group 1 the BMW and the 2,000-metre Group 1 Dali Australian Cup respectively. He would be saddled by Michael Friedman and would have Hugh Bowman on his back. Flax would now be ridden by Manuel Nunes, who replaced Venezuela after the latter's fall in the sprint. And for a horse that often gets overheated, the weather would play an important role in his performance. Meanwhile, local compatriot Lazar had been enjoying a fine resurgence this season after a well-publicised leg injury, and the Patrick Shaw-trained black gelding was looking all set to aim for a top 3 finish for the 8th consecutive time. Baron Boster, who'd won the sprint last year, would ride him in the SIA Cup and aimed to be one of the only riders to have ever won both races. The local's main hope, Better Life, had won 3 of her last 4 races, including her first ever triumph in the 2000-metre SG2 QE2 Cup. Her victory in the Singapore Group 1 Longines Singapore Gold Cup proved she was a horse for this course, a sentiment echoed by her trainer Takaoka and jockey Alan Munro. With her stiffest test ever before her, Better Life was safely loaded into the gates and not long thereafter was set away by the starter along with the rest of the field.
Now they're off in the Singapore Airlines International Cup, and Red Kigo got a bit of a squeeze out of the gates. Flax began well, so too Dan Excel poking up on the inside. Military Attack. Hunter's Light goes forward, just off them, ready to strike my window over on the inside. Pastorius trapped out a little wide. Malakalok just inside of it as they leave the straight, followed by Better Life. Then Mayondra, Lazar, Red Cadeau had to go right back, and Deep Pockets last of all as they leave the straight, and Flax took the lead. As they work up the side towards the back, led over Dan Excel in second. Pastorius exposed but going up on the outside. Then came Military Attack. Hunter's Light and Mayondra caught out wide but surging forward. Next is Marwingo down on the inside. Malakalok trapped a little deep as well from Ready to Strike. Better Life just getting shuffled a little bit over on the inside. The mare from Red Cadeau. It's gone up 3 wide. Then came Lazar, and last of all is Deep Pockets. Midway down the back, almost halfway, as they edge up towards the 1,000. And Mayondra has gone to the front here at the 1,000-metre mark over Flax in second. Pastorius now with a little bit of cover in third. Dan Excel down on the inside from a Hunter's Light. Military Attack. It'll need a little bit of luck from there, but it's had a beautiful run so far. Malakalok takes off at the 800 metres mark, followed by Ready to Strike. Red Cadeau begins to improve, followed by Marwingo in behind horses. So too Better Life, then Lazar, and Deep Pockets over on the inside. Mayondra the leader as they come to the top of the straight in the Cup. Snuck out a length and a half over Flax. Dan Excel being ridden before the bend, so too Pastorius. Malakalok around the outside, then came Red Cadeau. Hunter's Light as they sweep in. Marwingo and Military Attack makes his move over on the inside. Mayondra is the leader. Malakalok, Dan Excel, and here's Military Attack. Hunter's Light looking for a way through, but Military Attack for Zach Purton has raced the front of the Singapore Airlines International Cup. Dan Excel, Malakalok and Lazar is down the outside, but Hong Kong get the double. Military Attack races away and claims it in very hollow fashion. Military Attack bolts in.
Yeah, I'm just ecstatic to finally do it and win that emphatically was just unbelievable, and to run the queue was even a greater bonus. But it just showed that the Hong Kong form did stand up. He is a real. I've always said Military Attack, once he started to come good about 4 runs back, I said this looks like the real deal, and Purton confirmed that. And to do it today in Singapore soil, I've always loved the country. You know, I was here in the 70s riding for Ghana Pagore and riding Pro-Am, so it's great to break the duck.
In what was clearly a knockout punch, John Moore finished 1-2 with Military Attack and Dan Excel. Military Attack is a 5-year-old son of Oratorio and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Lokit Singh.
Well, and these are the pictures that we are going to leave you with. What a wonderful weekend it's been here in Singapore. I'm Mohit Lalvani. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.